Hello, my name is Jean-Claude Ambroise, and I'm the chairman of the Vote No Charter Revisions Political Action Committee. I'm a 13-year resident of Groton and proud to call this diverse community my home. I am a former representative of District 2 on the RTM, which is the Representative Town Meeting, and I was there for 8 years, 2 of those years being the moderator. Since involvement of the RTM, I've been honored to participate in several other government-appointed committees and task forces that have assisted me in learning more about Groton services. Now I'm a volunteer on the Groton Shellfish Commission. The Vote No Charter Revisions PAC is a group of grassroots nonpartisan Groton advocates committed to informing the residents of town about question 3 on the ballot that we will be asked to decide on November 6th. The Vote Yes group, Groton Right to Vote GRTV PAC, fails to provide comprehensive and accurate information and advocacy for the proposed charter revision. On October 3rd, at the Charter Revision Town Council public hearing, those who spoke against it outnumbered proponents 20-9. 6 of those that were in favor were members of the Charter Revision Commission. Most importantly, they neglect to mention that on November 28, 2017, the elected town council rejected the Charter Revision Commission final report by a vote of 5-4. It is false for GRTV to claim that virtually no change to our core of town government is proposed. The elimination of the representative town meeting would be a radical restructuring of the most powerful elected body in the town. It is the one elected body most intimately entwined with the voters. The unpaid volunteers who serve on the RTM are our family and our friends. They live in our neighborhoods. They know what matters to us because the same things matter to them. And by state law, the RTM is required to have provide seats for minority party representation. It is false to claim that charter revision would create a transparent annual budget development process. Groton already has an open, extensive line-by-line budget development process and review that includes formal settings for citizens' input. The monthly RTM agenda has a standing item allowing for discussion of the town budget at any meeting, should any RTM member or citizen choose to do so. Also, Board of Education and Town Council have a citizens' comment item in their regular monthly meetings. Any resident can actively participate in the process. It is false to claim the proposed charter would require that residents vote annually on a budget. Not all residents are voters, and no voter is required to vote. However, every taxpayer in town would be required to cover the $22,000 plus cost of operating all 7 polling places for each of the potentially unlimited number of budget referendums a year. Here are 3 key points that they're leaving out. Taxpayers are not empowered when the terms of office are increased from 2 to 4 years. A 2-year term keeps office holders directly and accountable to the voters. Taxpayers are not empowered when the statute requiring minority party representation shifts to the town and city councils. This will eliminate the ability to sweep out members of a political party if they choose to do so. If the charter revision succeeds, this power of the voting electorate will be lost. The RTM is the proper place for this representation. Taxpayers are not empowered when they only can vote for 1 member of a 7-member Board of Finance. Voters are especially diminished when one considers the Board of Finance would not be granted any voter veto power. Groton Right to Vote's description of the charter changes at best is neglectful or at worst intentionally deceptive. The proposed charter revision does not serve the interests of all Groton residents, voters, and taxpayers. If passed, this charter revision will drastically transform Groton. Quite simply, there are too many changes and all result in massive reduction of our diverse and dynamic community. On November 6th, we recommend you vote no. And now I will introduce Mr. Jim Streeter.
Thank you, JC. My name is Jim Streeter, and I'm a lifelong resident of Groton. For over 40 years, I have given back to my community, having served 8 years on the town council, 2 years as mayor, over 16 years on the RTM, and presently serving as a representative from the 3rd District. I was on the city council for 5 years and served as deputy mayor for 2. I have also served on various committees throughout the town and city, and am presently the appointed historian for the town of Groton. Because of my involvement in the community, I believe I have obtained detailed knowledge about Groton's government and the budget process. After reviewing the proposed changes to the Groton Charter, it is my opinion that if approved, these changes will be detrimental to the citizens of our community as well as our local government. Unfortunately, the individuals in favor of the charter revisions believe that the changes to the charter is the magic pill that will lower their taxes. They will vote to reduce the budget amount without any consideration as to how the reductions will impact the services that they are provided by the town. If they vote down the town budget's operation or education budgets, or even worse, both budgets, all of our citizens will suffer drastically. There will be cuts to educational services our children presently receive and deserve. There will be cuts in police protection. Other services such as recreation, library, and those provided to our seniors will also be diminished considerably. The charter change will replace the RTM with a superficial Board of Finance, which acts in an advisory position only and has no authority. Doing this will eliminate the checks and balances that the town's budget, to the town's budgets, which are currently conducted by the RTM representatives. It is my opinion, gathered through these years of experience, that the average voter has no idea as to what is included in our budgets and is only interested in the bottom line. They will not take the time to review the details of the budget before voting blindly against it. That, folks, is not good government. Groton should not let this happen. Groton's government, although convoluted and not perfect, works well, and that is why I am voting no to the charter revisions. I would like to now introduce Representative Nancy Melo Miller.
Hi, my name is Nancy Melo Miller. I'm your representative for District 7. If you vote at Fitch, I'm one of your neighbors and one of your representatives. And this is Helen and Noah. As a native Californian, when I was growing up, my mom told me two important things when we would go to the polls. Number one was always vote for schools. And number two was always protect the libraries. I didn't think much of it until I grew up and became a mom myself. As a military spouse, when we moved to the Groton area about 5 years ago, I had no idea what it meant to be part of a community such as Groton. And when my daughter Helen started school, I realized just how true the words that my mom once spoke 30 plus years ago really meant. And I started voting and understanding how important it was to be involved in our community, be involved in our children's and our grandchildren's future. That's why I decided to run for the representative town meeting last cycle, and why I support a no on the charter revision. Right now, there's 40 to 41 representatives, just like you and me, from all different backgrounds, from all over Groton, 20% of which have children, just like this in Groton schools. We care about schools, but we also care about the community, parks and recreation, and the libraries. But as working families, we also care about keeping taxes low and steady. As Democrats and Republicans, we work together to balance the budget, but also to protect our children's future. This is why I support a no on the charter revision, and I hope that just like you and me, we'll keep working to protect these two guys, the schools, and all of the wonderful services. Groton is off to a wonderful start, and there's wonderful people getting involved right now in government. Let's see where Groton goes from here. Voting no, and let's take Groton to the next level. There's a lot more families just like you and me that want to see what Groton's about. Vote no.
Hello, my name is Craig Kohler. I've been a resident of Groton for 25 years. Over that time, I volunteered my time with Mystic Little League, the Groton Soccer Club, 2 school redistricting committees, the Phase 2 School Building Committee, the School Facilities Initiative Task Force, and as a board member of the Riverfront Children's Center. Through my involvement in all of these committees and organizations, I have seen and studied the diversity of Groton. And it is precisely because of this diversity of our community that I encourage you to vote no against the charter revision. If ever there was a town in Connecticut that needed representative town government, it is Groton. We are a most diverse and complex town. We're comprised of the city, Groton Long Point, Pequannock Plains, Mystic, Noank, and last but not least, our naval community. The needs of our community are many. The concerns of a Groton Long Point resident are quite different from those of a sailor's family. The needs of a Groton City resident are different from those folks who live in the Mystic area. We also have a variety of economic needs as well. As a town, we must balance the needs of an economic development zone around our airport with the needs of our Thames Street and downtown Mystic merchants, in addition to the needs of our major corporations and government employers, General Dynamics, Pfizer, and the U.S. Navy. And let's not forget the needs of those who cannot cast a vote, our school children. I am concerned that our education budget would suffer greatly if the charter revision is passed. The needs of all these entities are best served by a representative town government. The current RTM provides exactly the representation which is needed so that all the voices in Groton are heard. This could not possibly be duplicated by a 7-member Board of Finance and an annual budget referendum. It has also been said that there are plenty of towns that hold an annual budget referendum in Connecticut, but none of those towns are as large and varied as Groton. The majority of the towns in Connecticut that vote on their budgets are small, with relatively homogeneous populations. Some towns that have been mentioned as for comparison are Clinton, Cromwell, Guilford, Madison, Newtown, and Stonington. None of these towns are remotely as demographically diverse as Groton. None of these towns also have the needs of 6,500 sailors and their families to consider, and none of these towns have to work with 2 Fortune 500 corporations. Some of the vote yes signs read, "It's your money, you deserve a vote," and I've listened to numerous people complain about their taxes. It seems to me this charter revision is really not about trying to streamline government, but merely to have a thumbs up, thumbs down vote on the budget. I think having an annual budget referendum in this town would be a disaster. Our current form of government is doing its job. Out of 169 towns in Connecticut, our equalized mill rate ranks 147th, and our education expenditures per pupil rank 113th, both below the state averages. We are a unique and multifaceted community, unlike any other in the state of Connecticut. Our population ranges from sub-builders to scientists and from sailors to students. We need a representative town government. Let's keep it that way. Please vote no on the charter revision on November 6th. And now I'd like to introduce Barbara Tarbox.
Thank you, Craig. It's great to be here to be able to tell you a little bit about myself and my experience in Groton. My name is Barbara Tarbox. I served you as the town clerk for 24 years. I was also on the RTM for 10 years, 4 of which I was moderator. I've lived in Groton for over 50 years. And although I wasn't here when the first charter was established, I would like to tell you a little bit about the charter history. In 1955, the town's population was about 25,000. The town's form of government was a 3-member Board of Selectmen, a 6-member Board of Finance, and a town meeting. Realizing that this was no longer an efficient way to run the growing town, a committee was formed to establish a charter adopted in 1957 with an updated governmental structure. The report resulted in the basic form of government that we know now: a town council, a town manager, and a representative town meeting. Some changes have been made over the years, including the last one about 10 years ago. The population of Groton is now over 40,000 folks, but the proposed charter revisions take us back to 1955. We will have a town council rather than a board of selectmen, but now they will serve with unresponsive 4-year terms. We'll have a board of finance, but they'll also have 4-year terms, but one that has no power and no means to be a check and balance, such as the RTM is. And instead of the outdated old town meeting, we'll be forced to have an automatic budget referendum, not necessarily for any particular reason, and with no minimum turnout of voters. This is not progress. This is not only going backwards in time, but it is drastically reducing the power of the people. Please vote no on question 3. And now I would like to introduce a man that needs no introduction, Chaz Zolka.
Thank you, Barbara. But I do think I need an introduction. And I'll just tell you briefly about myself to lend some validity and reliability to why I'm going to ask you to vote no. First of all, I've served 10 years on the town council and 4 years on the RTM, where I was the majority floor leader, and also on the Board of Education for 12 years, where I was the vice chair. Here are some reasons that have helped me and also my family and friends to decide to vote no on the charter revision. Number one, Municipal and Board of Education budgets should be examined carefully, line item by line item, not by just a gut feeling that they are too high or too low. So please vote no on charter revisions. It's question 3 over to your right on the ballot. 2, budget referendums will cost in excess of $22,000 each time they are held. Do we really want to spend this unknown amount if we have more than one budget referendum? 3, 70 of the 169 towns in Connecticut that have budget referendums have had to hold them 2 or 3 or even more to pass. This is costly and causes uncertainty and instability. There is only one other town in Connecticut the size of Groton that has a budget referendum. The others have a much smaller population, as you were told earlier. So why? So we should not be comparing ourselves to even our neighbor, Stonington. The details of the Finance Board as proposed are not spelled out clearly, and they are only advisory in nature, and no one has to listen to them anyway. The Groton Public School Systems, number 6, has been growing positively under the current governmental structure, including our nationally recognized high school, Fitch. We do not need a charter change to put the school system in jeopardy. A good example is Preston, who's had 3 referendums in 1 year to keep their schools moving forward. And 7, by abolishing our checks and balances system, we take away much of the representation, especially that the city districts 2 and 3 have now. A vote of no helps Groton grow. A vote of yes creates a mess. Please vote no on the charter revisions. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Rob Giuliani.
My name is Robert Giuliani. I'm a past 4-term city councilor, and I'm an 8-year Board of Education member past, and I'm newly serving as a Groton and Bosser Utility Commissioner. I would like to address the charter change increasing the years from electing councilors from 2 to 4 years. At public meetings, people are being told complexities and complications of running government takes councilors about 2 years to learn and understand. Therefore, that person will need to be re-elected for another 2 years as councilor to finish the job. Thus, the reasoning for the new charter to only elect councilors once every 4 years. I don't agree and accept that explanation. No one should be expected to understand the big picture when presented with challenges of a new position as councilor. Running for office or serving on a town board or commission requires time to accumulate oneself to the rules, procedures, and understanding the operations and responsibilities of the position. It only takes a reasonable amount of time for anyone to adjust themselves for whatever position they have. It's the same as starting a new job. In the beginning, it takes a lot of reading and strong commitment to learn things quickly. Example, getting to know the people, getting to know the rules and procedures, getting to understand contracts. This can all be done within 5 to 9 months. It doesn't take 2 years to adjust these, to get these understanding. All told, the first 9 months may take maybe 12 months, should allow anyone enough time to get their feet wet and jump with both boots on. If you haven't figured out the responsibilities and limitations of being a counselor after the first 9 to 12 months, then I recommend you think harder and work faster for the citizens. I can't support this charter, and I will now introduce Barbara Maggie.
My name is Barb Nagy, and I have been a proud resident of Groton for almost 24 years. I live on Broad Street and am a member of the Groton Library Board and the Groton Education Foundation. I'm an unaffiliated voter. I believe in good government. I believe in strong communities. I believe in the value of a good education, not just for the students, but to promote our town as a great place to live and work. I believe in helping those who truly cannot help themselves. The proposed charter revisions have gotten me active in a political cause for the first time in my life. I'm voting no on question 3,
primarily because of the budget referendum. Turnout for these votes is historically dismal, in the range of 7 to 25% in towns like Stonington, Preston, and North Stonington, even for the most contentious issues. We've seen in these towns how referendums can open the door for a small faction to control spending or drive a political agenda. Whoever creates the most noise, puts up the most signs, and gets the most people to the polls wins. The RTM keeps extremists in check in Groton. RTM members represent the interests of Groton, all of Groton, and their discussions reflect that. I don't want to eliminate the checks and balances that the RTM provides, and that's what this new charter would do. Some people argue that everybody should have a vote and vote for what they can afford. The bottom line can't be the only consideration in governing our community, and I'm afraid that that is what we are opening ourselves up to. Who wants to live in a town with lousy schools or weak police protection or a second-rate library? Not me, and not most people who might consider living here. In a strong community, decisions are made for the overall good, not for the wishes of a few. Thank you for your time. I'd now like to introduce Porsche Bordelon.
What is the RTM? I've been asked this several times over the last few months as this charter revision has come to light. To me, what it means is district representation, and it's a direct representation of a diverse community. One of the reasons I chose to stay and live in Groton after growing up here and graduating from Fitch High School and attending Westside Middle School, which I'm very proud of, is being able to help develop programs and advocate for students and families in different districts or towns that would be disenfranchised from this charter revision. Some people say that we need minority representation. I think we need diverse representation. Eliminating the RTM would eliminate certain sections of town. If every voter in some sections of town showed up to vote, their vote would not matter because they merely do not have the numbers from the amount of voters in their particular district. As I think about how this charter revision would devastate the town of Groton, it makes me wonder how we got here. How can we change and support the vote no? I encourage people to get out, talk to neighbors, talk to friends, help people understand what's really going on, because my concern is if we go to a referendum, the average voter is not going to read the budget. Currently, as I run into people with a 26-page charter revision, not everybody has read all of the items on it as of to date. A few of the items have been highlighted, but not all of them. Once again, I encourage you to vote no on this current budget, this referendum, number 3, the charter revision, and I encourage you to get involved and help support Groton, where it is a diverse, unique, livable, wonderful area to live. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Portia. This concludes the Vote No Charter Revisions program. We would like to thank SECTV for producing this program, and thank you to you, the Groton voters, for watching. For further information on this crucial upcoming vote, you can go to the Groton Town website, grotonct.gov, for information on the charter revision. Also, you can contact and watch us on another show, Vote No, with Peter Roper, Potluck Politics, on Comcast or TVC Channel 12, or on YouTube at any time. Vote No Charter Revisions is on several social media platforms, including Facebook and Instagram. Just search Vote No Charter Revisions and find us and research any additional information and see how you can contribute to the Vote No Political Action Committee and volunteer and assist in this grassroots group. I say to all of Groton, on November 6th, vote no on question 3. One budget vote might be gained, but numerous voter rights will be lost. I say to you again, a vote no helps all of Groton grow, and a vote no helps Groton grow, and a vote yes makes Groton a mess. Thank you.